Hey everyone, I'm here today taking a look at the new Master of the Universe Revolution Gwildor figure from Mattel's Masterverse toy line. This Gwildor comes in a 2-pack with the Revelations and Revolutions style Orko/Oracle figure, but I'm just going to be looking at Gwildor today, mainly to compare him with previous Gwildors, because there are plenty of reviews I've seen of the 2-pack, but no comparisons with older Gwildor figures, so that's going to be the main focus of this review. The head moves around. It will go all the way around really, but it tends to take the shoulder pads with it. The arms will go out to the side as well as falling backwards, and they've got the irregular elbow joints and hand joints that all the Masterverse figures have. So you pretty much know what to expect with that. And even the legs do, even though the legs are shorter, there is a knee joint in the middle where they'll swivel and they'll bend. The jacket gets in the way a little bit of that. But it's about the same sort of motion you'd expect from a Gwildor figure. You know, the feet pivot from side to side and go forward and backwards. So it's got a nice range of motion. Here he is with previous Gwildor figures we've had in the past. Got the vintage toy line Gwildor here, and the Master of the Universe Classics Gwildor here, which is really movie accurate. Whereas the original toy kind of took some liberties. I mean, it was just an 80s toy, and the new one is based solely on the animated design. So you can see the face has a far more cartoony look. He actually looks more handsome than the previous two Gwildors. But it's a big difference between this Gwildor and the more movie accurate classics version. But they are meant to be different designs. They both look great sculpting work on both of them. Obviously the vintage one is like a 35, almost 40-year-old figure. So the quality there isn't going to be the same as these two new ones. But if we look at the costumes, the vintage toy was pretty close to how it looks in the movie, with the green kind of skirt underneath the jacket and some brown belts going across. But this new one's actually got quite a redesign to the outfit underneath the blue jacket. Instead of that green skirt, it's kind of a blue shirt now over the top of a greenish cream coloured skirt underneath. It's got the brown belt still, but it hasn't got much hanging off of it other than one key. I don't know if that's going to be relevant in the cartoon or if it is just something that he happens to have dangling on his belt the whole time. But you can see the movie accurate one has some sort of chains and little gold coins hanging off of the chain, just little amulets or whatever. Whereas the vintage toy one has a lot of tools and things, which is quite a nice detail actually and kind of suits the character. And the same with the pockets. If we look at the pockets on that vintage toy, they sculpted a lot of little gizmos and gadgets inside them. Whereas on the movie one, he's got a few little things poking out there. And on the new one, it hasn't got anything. It only has one pocket as well, whereas on the movie jacket, he's got sort of 3 pockets on each side there. They all have a very similar design to the blue jacket, with the red trim on the shoulders and then some red on the elbows as well. It's a bit less on the vintage toy. It's not going to be as detailed as these two newer collector's figures. And then if we look at the back as well, there's actually some really nice detailing on the back of the vintage figure. You can see that movie one has these gold bits, and the vintage one has some silver detailing going down the back there. Whereas the new one doesn't have any detailing like that, but it is really textured, and it's got a lovely kind of fabric-y texture to the jacket. Hopefully that will show up on camera, just how textured the sculpting work on the back of the jacket is. And the jacket on the new one is actually a softer plastic, so you can take it off, even though the sleeves don't come off, but the main jacket on the body will slip off if you want it to. Another thing about the jacket on the new one is that the main body of the jacket is a different colour to the sleeves. I don't know if that's just maybe something weird with the toy, or if it's actually going to look like that in the cartoon. Really nice sculpting work on the heads for both of them with the hair. There's more of a paint wash on the classics one, but once again that's because it's going for a more realistic movie look, whereas the new one is based on the cartoon, so it's sort of straight up one colour to give it that cartoony vibe. And the new Gwildor comes with a few accessories. The first is his walking stick / staff, which we see him use in the movie as well. And you can see on the classics version it's got a bit more detailing, it's a bit thicker, there's a few more paint apps. But one thing I like about the new one is that the crystal on top is actually clear plastic there, whereas on the classics one it's just painted white. So that looks a lot nicer on the new one, even though the classics one is a bit more detailed. But if we look down the staffs a bit, you can see they've got very similar detailing. They've even both got that kind of button just above his fingers there on both. The movie accurate one from Classics has finer detail to it, but that's because it's based on a real life prop, whereas the new one's a more smooth, cartoony look, which suits it as it is from the animated series. The second accessory comes with is of course the Cosmic Key, and it's very much based on the design of the Cosmic Key from Classics. See, this is the Classics one here, which is kind of an amalgamation of the vintage toy Cosmic Key and the movie design, and the new one's pretty much a straight up copy of that, just with a lighter red at the top basically. And you can see that's the vintage Cosmic Key there, which looks nothing like the movie one and doesn't really look like anything. I never liked that vintage Cosmic Key, but I get where they're going with amalgamating the two, but personally I still prefer the movie version, which I've got the movie Gwildor holding here. And there I've got the Classics movie accurate Gwildor holding the movie accurate Cosmic Key, and you can see how different that looks. That Cosmic Key actually comes with Skeletor, but I always give it to Gwildor. And lastly comes with this power sword, which is a slight redesign of the regular one. It's got a darker metal around the hilt, but then going up the blade there's kind of a techno detailing to it, and it also gradually goes yellow as you get to the tip, where I guess it's the sword powering up. And we see this in the trailer as well, and the sword actually opens up, like in the middle of the blade it splits open, kind of like the 2003 sword did. So I guess Gwildor has to somehow redesign the sword for He-Man. And here is He-Man with the regular looking power sword, just so you can see the difference between this new version and the regular one. And then for a size comparison, here he is next to He-Man, who's just a regular size Masterverse figure. So that's my look at the new Masterverse Gwildor, based on his design from the upcoming Revolution cartoon series. I'm really glad they're bringing Gwildor into it, because he hasn't really done much outside of the movie. He did appear in some of the comics, in the, I think the American ones, but definitely in the UK ones. So I do like having him return and partnering up with Orko. And it's a really nice redesign as well. Nothing too drastic, they've just changed his costume a little bit, make it a bit more interesting rather than just a green skirt underneath the jacket. They've given him a bit of a podgy look like the vintage toy had. They've kind of taken inspiration from that, whereas Billy Barty in the movie didn't have a podge on him. You can see that vintage toy one has a bit of a belly, and they've given this new animated version a bit more of a rounder look to him. It's funny that the vintage toy is actually the same height as these two collector ones, even though that toy line was 5-inch scale and these two are from the 7-inch scale lines. But that original Gwildor was a bit too big for the line, kind of like Orko was. So thanks for joining me for this look at the new Master Universe Revolution Gwildor from the Masterverse toy line. Mainly a comparison with the Classics toy, and this is a series that I want to do of comparing Masterverse with Classics. So thanks again for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you again soon. So we now have 3 different Gwildor figures from 3 different toy lines. What a time to be alive.